Rogers TV.
The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
Welcome to Tobin Tonight, the podcast where if you're not into watching NTV News or CBC News, then this fits perfectly because you can watch me and then you can watch me on repeat throughout different points of the day. You can watch me late at night. You can watch me on Rogers on YouTube. You can DVR it. So many possibilities. Or you can basically say, I don't even want to listen to you now. I'm only watching you because there's nothing else on the TV. And my grandmother said that you seem like a nice guy. I'll take that as well. But this week on the show, we have a group of three, a trio from Montreal. The band name is pretty simple, to be honest. It's just Group Project. Group Project, that's it. It's simple enough. They do have an interesting story about how they came up with that name. To me, it's interesting. To you, it might just be like, that seems silly, that seems dumb. Understood. But basically, yeah, they were just a group of people put together in a project, and then they were collaborating. And anyway, that's the name. There you go. I'm giving you parts of the interview already. Why? Because I care. That's why. Obviously, Group Project, they'll talk a little bit more about it into the name, because it's not necessarily just as simple as that. There was other names that came up, and then other band members were like, I don't like it, and they'll explain why. We talk a little bit about their kind of influence, how they got into music. They're doing this during a time period where it's not their full-time commitment. They're still students, and this is just kind of like their goal, their dream, and they're working away at it. So kudos to them. We're going to talk a little bit about like what the future holds for them, what they kind of expect their music to be, where they want to go with music, essentially. I mean, that's technically what you do when you have music acts on, right? Like ask them, where do you see yourself? Like this, like I feel like I'm a parent, like you're following your dream of music? Where's that going to take you, huh? Says the guy with a communications degree. Like, where did that take me? They'll talk a little bit about that. We also talk about the songs Alma Mater and Pretty House. They're really good songs. If you haven't heard them, I encourage you to download them and listen. Give it a test trial. Like, I understand it. You might listen to 5 seconds and be like, not for me. Understood. But do a little bit of feeling out process to see if it's for you. And the last thing we do, we play a random game of questions. Random questions. That's kind of what we do at the end of all interviews or all conversations. So I'm going to stop talking. We're going to play the intro music. Both of us, me and you, we're going to listen. We're going to watch Tobin Tonight. This is the part where I would have had like the meme of the guy has the meme and he points to the TV and wants saying, you're going to watch this right now. Like references, they go over my head. I'm not good with names. Brian, that's his name. Brian Tobin, right? I don't know. Anyway, enjoy. Guys, welcome to the podcast, Tobin Tonight. I'm here with Group Project. I wanted to make them feel a little bit at home on this episode because I know they were from Montreal. So I found this. Ooh. This nice. Yeah.
4, 10, and 1. Let's go.
Yeah. I found it and I was like, they're from Montreal. Let's make them feel welcome. I know they're in Montreal. Clearly, they're having themselves a feed of Domino's pizza. I'm totally okay with that. I told them that I was going to take a pizza myself, but I was like, you know what? This is all I got, but I will eat later. Guys, welcome to the podcast. I want to really ask you first to start off is, did you leave your shoes? Are they away? They're not close by, right?
No, actually, that's disgusting.
No shoes.
Yeah. Alex just take
perfect. You left them in the doorway. You left them in the doorway. That's good. So the first big question I want to ask you is, how did the idea of Group Project come to be the idea, like the name of it? Because again, I think it all started when some guy named Dave seen you three little in a classroom and said,
put them in together because they're just being chaotic. And then you're like, yeah, you guys can put us in a group project. Awesome. That's the name.
That's exactly what happened.
What's the getter?
What's that?
Put them in the getter?
Oh, like put them together. I'm a Newfoundlander. That's my accent coming
It's a
by.
new fleet. I
Holy
understood.
moly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, basically the name was all me. I came up with it, and that's it.
And that's why it sucks. No, honestly, Jeremy called me one day. At least this is my story of it. And he was like, yeah, I just came up with a sick name, group project. Or he said, what do you think of it? And honestly, at first, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But his rationale was that the domain name didn't exist. Nobody else had used it. You look at groupproject.com, nada. So
And also,
it worked out.
everything
Really
we were
grew.
doing, we were doing everything very collaboratively and very together.
True.
And
A lot of people.
3 guys working towards the same thing.
Yeah.
Not all of us putting in the same amount of effort. So just like in school, group projects. So,
Yeah. And we were all in school and college at the time.
Yeah, and it's hilarious, like how much you hear a group project in school. Your teacher's like, "Oh, we're gonna have a group project." Then
Yeah.
obviously,
That's
I
it.
was
We
thinking
have
of
a
the
role.
band now,
Yeah.
True.
and it grew on me a lot. I think it grew on us a lot. Like at first, Jeremy calls me too. I'm like, I hate it. But then, like the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. So we're still called group project today.
And I like how you tied in the group project to like the album where you said it was like full-time students, because like people are like they can relate to that, where it's like, oh yeah, like I remember being a full-time student doing group projects. But I feel like there's people who probably didn't look at the music side and they're like, oh, like this is like a TED talk. I'm really interested. And like, okay, when are they going to talk? Why do they keep singing?
That's it, exactly.
Well, Full Time Student was actually our first album, our first EP.
Yeah.
And then when we met our manager, we took some stuff down to redo them and find our sound. And so it ended up being re-released after a few of our other songs, but that was the first album.
Yeah, and it was part of the
Full-Time
the
Student.
whole branding, you know, like group
Yeah.
project, full-time student. It still is very much. So.
Alex came up with the logo.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
Right? Same kind of thing, right? The 3 little stick men.
when I was in class.
I feel like not to like make overly fun of you, but I'm like, I feel like that took a lot of effort. I feel like you sat there one day, they're like, we got the name. Now can you do a design? You're like, all right, guys.
Not even
there.
We did a whole bunch. I tried making a whole bunch of logos, like different stuff. And,
They're terrible.
Alex is like, they're all awful, and he goes, "Dude, 3 stick men." I'm like, that's stupid. And here we are.
I think I drew like maybe like 5 little things on literally like a loose leaf, and I was like, that one's the coolest one because it's very like it's like the 3 stick men together. It's like a unit, you know. We're 3 in the band, but it shows like group project, brotherhood almost, or sisterhood, or whatever you want to call
Got
it.
their hands up like that, so it's like
Yeah.
champions of the world.
Yeah.
It means a lot with a little.
It was like 3 guys on stage at the end of the
Yeah.
show.
Awesome.
And honestly, Jeremy ended up redoing it to scan it, and there's like a bump on the head.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
didn't change it. It's actually
It's me.
there's a bump on this head too on
It's
my
me because
tattoo.
I have a man bun, I guess.
Alex is probably the big. I don't know how well Jake can draw, but Alex is really the best like artist. I
I'm
think
pretty
between the
good.
3 of us. You're
I don't
pretty
think
good.
you've ever fucking seen me draw.
I've never seen you draw. Maybe
I'm not
Jake's
even
really
being-
good.
Fucking
I'm not even.
Picasso
I'm not
over
even.
here.
Okay, well maybe Alex thinks he's the best in the
We're gonna have a
Alex-
drawing contest.
That's-
after this.
Different styles. We have different styles.
But
Yeah.
I tried. I'm the worst. I can't draw for the life of me, and I was trying to just retrace Alex's drawing basically, and that's it. Messed it up a little bit. There's a little bit of a bump on one of the heads. Like
I feel like that's like in my family where when you learn to draw, like I have a niece that's really good at drawing. Like she can draw like Lilo's Stitch. She can see it on like YouTube and draw it. And I'm just still like, Brian, draw me like Woody from like, you know, Toy Story. And I'm like, all right, circle, square, hat. And then they're like, that looks really bad. I'm like,
We do our logo with a hat on.
yeah. I want to ask you guys too, because again, with the new song that you have out called Alma Mater, I know that one of your posts on Instagram was talking about like telling or asking people what their alma mater is. So I wore this. This is mine. It's Carleton University in Ottawa.
Very
So,
well.
There we go.
Very familiar.
Shout out to Carleton. I want to ask you guys, in writing that song, what was your process? Why alma mater? Was it something that you were like, I'm happy to be a part of an alma mater, or was it just more or less like it goes together?
It just rhymed with water.
That's the
Literally.
main reason.
No, but it was like I know we spoke of it before going live.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was mentioned, but we like to keep our lyrics very descriptive. And I think when I had written that verse and I was like, took you hours, head down by the water. And then like when I thought of alma mater, I don't know how it came up, but it just did. And I'm like, that's sick. And whenever there's something that sticks out to us in a song, I find that's what we'll try calling it.
Yeah.
And then when I brought it to the guys and come on, you guys gotta help me play this. I think it's good, it's sick, we can play it all together. and then we were just jamming, and I think Jared was like humming the da, 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 and then we just got the that's
and then yeah, exactly. And me and Alex at the beginning, like we didn't alma mater is not really a Canadian term. I don't know. I think you would agree, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Me and Alex didn't know what it meant right away at the beginning, and Alex still has a hard time pronouncing it. But
alma mater.
I did. Alma mater.
But he kept saying alma mater, but at the beginning we kind of were trying to figure like every time Jake goes, oh yeah, we're gonna work on alma gobbler, like we didn't know what it was called. So.
I didn't know what it referred to, and I'd heard it. We don't use it in Canada as much, but in the States, I find I'm pretty sure they always use it. It's like this is my alma mater.
Yeah, it's like
I'm pretty sure.
See, Alex, that was them secretly trying to get you out of the group. They were like, if he can't say this word, he'll probably just quit.
It almost happened. It almost happened.
You went in with an ultimatum one day, and you're like, guys, change the name of the song, or I'm quitting. They're like, oh my god, that would be the worst thing ever. And then when you leave, they're like,
so
yes.
basically, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Once they gave me a second chance.
And he's still in the wrong.
Coming up with some of the music, because I know we were talking a little bit of alma mater there, and Pretty House was another one I really liked. We kind of discussed it prior to coming live, but just to kind of recap it here, like, tell me a little bit more about the Pretty House, like how that all came to be, because I had told you that sometimes when I listen to those lyrics, I'm just like, I don't get it. What happened? Why did they come up with it this way? But again, after you listen to the whole song, you're like, all right, I like it. Like there's obviously in certain songs, like I listen to Britney Spears' "Hit Me Baby One More Time" and I like it, but I'm a little bit confused when it's like "Hit Me Baby One More Time." Like what does that mean, Britney?
You interpret it on your.
That's exactly the reaction we were hoping to get from like our fans and stuff as they finish listening to the song. They go, yeah, I like it. I think of Britney Spears. Like,
well, good. I'm glad.
You always say you'll make meetings like. You'll make a meeting work, or you'll find a meeting if there's no direct meeting. But that one, I think it has one. It's very hidden. But I think I started that one with the verse, and I came home one day and my mom was literally cleaning out the doorway, and she was having people over, her friends that I've known forever. So I went downstairs, picked up a guitar like I usually do, and I'll just jam or try writing something, and that's how I started the song. And then I tried to make sense of it. And really, it's about like the first verse is you're just alone, you're looking for love, you can't find love, but at the end of the day, you know that what makes a pretty house a home, somebody to love, you know. And then the second verse kind of talks about what happens if you never do find that lover. You end up focusing on your job, your work, you focus on money, you drink, like turn your water into wine. Dollars to dollars.
Yeah, there's a bit of a dark side to
it's a bit dark.
If you listen to the lyrics of the second verse especially, it's like I was writing up the lyrics for when we submitted it to our streaming platforms and stuff, and I was like, fuck, it's actually pretty dark, chick. Are you good, man? But anyways, what's interesting about Pretty House is it's the first song that we made all together after like quarantine here stopped. And it was like and we just had this new studio that we're in right now, basically renovated in Jeremy's basement. So that's why it's special to me, you know. Pretty House, it's cool.
It was tough to come together with it too, because to make it like, because we had been so long since we were together, we actually had a big break. We couldn't work on music with COVID.
Yeah, we're all working like individually and stuff. So
but it felt good to finally be all together for that one.
Yeah, but it took us a while to kind of get the momentum, like, and drive ourselves forward.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
but it taught us a new way of kind of going about a song. It was cool.
Yeah.
What other interests do you have outside of music, like in the downtime? Because I know we're kind of coming out of COVID. I'd like to believe it because I see like fans all back in the stands at hockey games. Yes, it's still ongoing, but I don't feel it's as severe. But like, what were you guys doing during like lockdown or COVID to keep you busy or sane?
I personally made a very good friend called Beer.
Nice.
Beer became a very, very, very good friend of mine. I already was, but we got closer during that time. Just, I don't know. Really.
Yeah, music for me was the thing that really kept me sane. Like when it was not because I was I'd play on my own there, but then when summer came around, I was golfing, going to the outdoor rink, watching hockey like Jer.
Yeah.
Fantasy football.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah, that's about it. But music primarily, like that was my escape. Like if I was when it was the heat of the lockdown, I would go downstairs and I had my piano, my guitar, and at least I had nothing else to worry about, which was sick for 2 weeks, and then it got Everyone's going crazy.
At the same time, just on that note, like you have to realize we're still not doing this full time, right? Like so Jake's got like a full time job, and this is kind of like all the spare time we have, we dedicate to this. And I'm
it's like
in
a
school, full time school job.
Yeah.
Alex is in school job, and we're
Nice.
So this is like kind of our escape and all.
Yeah.
This is it.
But yeah, no. For me, like what was keeping me sane. Well, I was fine with staying home. It was cool. But definitely playing guitar more than ever. I think we all got better during that time, like individually. But going on hikes, walking outside, going to the outdoor rink, seeing friends from a distance, stuff like that. But yeah, staying active and definitely like being in nature for me was keeping me sane during that time.
I feel like COVID gave me a really good excuse for like seeing friends from a distance, where it's like a friend that like one of your best friends you're obviously going to make time for, but like one of these other friends that you're like, I'm kind of friends with you, but it's association with someone else. And it's like, hey, do you got time to do this? I'm like, man, COVID, can't really do that.
Exactly.
Perfect excuse. And now when it starts to go away, I've actually seen like memes online where it's like, okay, what's our next excuse here? Roll out another one so we can use it, because it's literally like, we're having a house party tonight. We're inviting everyone. Do you want to come? I'm like, COVID.
I really don't feel
Dude,
like
it's been 20 years.
I'm sorry, I just really don't feel like
I don't
Yeah,
like you.
You're like swine flu.
Yeah. It's like I broke my leg. It's like,
I got the
you can
very-
still come to the party. I'm like, damn it, I need a better excuse. Just to kind of clue this up a little bit, because I don't want to keep you too long. Do you want to have a bit of like the fun aspect of this podcast?
Let's do it.
Down.
All right, that's basically telling me that everything else before this was not fun. No,
We love that.
yeah.
You said it first.
yeah, that's true. It's on me. Where do you see this going long term? I know that's a little bit of a loaded question, but I feel like a lot of people will be like, well, I just hope we continue to do more music and more like release a CD. But I'm like, I want an interesting answer from you guys.
World
We're
domination.
going to take over the world.
I would say we like to dream in steps, and I find that a good way of going about it. I would say by next fall, we like our numbers to be substantially higher in terms of streams, followers, and just overall reach, and hopefully get to do like some festivals this
More
summer. If we
shows,
could do like at least one festival this summer, I think things are looking good.
And
Then we'll be
shows
happy.
Yeah.
And like from a less like analytical like business perspective, I think we just want more people to hear our stuff, and we want to grow our fan base. We want to like keep connecting with people, and we just want to put out songs next year. We feel we have a few already, and we're working on more, but we really feel we have a few that like people are going to really connect with, and people are going to think are special. The people that do already follow us, and hopefully they'll help us reach new people that will find us and hopefully like us.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like I find music is a very hard industry to make it in. Like we've been doing this for like 5 years now, and we've come a long way. We have, but like we're still working, still in school, so we can't do this like full time as a job, really. So for me, like a big goal for next year would be to like financially be stable just from music, or at least a good amount of my finances coming from music. Definitely landing some radio plays, getting some more interviews on like news stations, and growing our fan base, and playing more shows. Getting a feature with like a really awesome artist on one of our songs would be an awesome goal for next year.
Well, I mean, give me 60 years and I'll continue working on that song that I was doing. No.
You don't have 60 years, Tobin. You have like one.
No, that's fair. I mean, if you're still doing it in 60 years, I'll be like, hey, I finally finished that song. And they'll be like, who are you? I'll be like, I'm Tobin tonight with the baby now. And it's like, it's no longer a baby.
Tobin tonight beats the baby.
Don't call it the baby. The guy that's like
God, the
40.
baby.
Your baby's like 40.
Yeah, it'd be like, dude, you can change your branding. I'd be like, no, people have come to like the baby, and then they expect me to bring it.
I'd like the baby, the rapper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that'd be cool too. But I would love it if like.
That's what he meant. Oh, you gotta give me something before the baby.
I know, but I thought immediately like the baby.
Just on like Jake, to build on what Jake was saying, like of like dreaming in steps and stuff. I think like our big step dream next year is get ourselves to the point, just like listener wise, fans wise, audience wise, where the following year we'll really be able to go and do like our first big tour.
Yeah. And like Jeremy, I was gonna go back to what you said, is like that's what ultimately it's so that our music is heard, because I like to think we write some good songs with meaning, and I find that's lacking in a lot of, not to diss any other artist.
We're better than everyone else.
But we want to contribute to the industry with some meaningful songs, and that's important to us, and I hope that those songs get heard to inspire people or make people feel something, whatever that something might be.
Yeah, whether it's happiness, depression, something. I know when I listen to like an Eminem song, there's times that I'm like revved up, ready to check someone in ball hockey. They're like, "You're gonna get kicked out immediately." I'm like, "It's worth it." There's other times I will turn on there's other times I'll turn on an Eminem song and I'm like, I can't relate to it, but then I make up a scenario where I feel like I should, where it's almost like it's like I'm cleaning out my closet. I'm like, Eminem, my closet's pretty clean. No one's really done me dirty, and then I'll like. But imagine if someone did, you'd be like, "Oh, that Catherine," and it's like, "Who's Catherine?" But like, I don't know.
As a kid, I listened to a lot of Eminem as a kid.
Yeah,
and it did some of those songs that it hypes you up, and makes you. I was kind of like, yeah, I've got all these problems.
Yeah.
Wow, my life is so messed up. I'm just like Eminem. I was like, I'm just like Eminem. It's like,
I've done that before when I was like in grade 5, going to a basketball game, listening to I was either like Just Lose It or whatever, and I'm just still like, okay, or like Live for the Moment, or like Sing for the Moment, and it's like, Brian, it's literally grade 5 basketball. I'm like, you don't know.
He's brought the hockey stick, just bird feeding across you, checking guys in the face.
Without Me was my pump up song. Without Me, what is it? Every hockey game, I blasted it. Even for the team, I was like, "You guys gotta listen to this song. This just gets me going."
My go-to. I'll let Alex give one too, but my go-to right now is, I think it's like, and I've seen it in commercials. I think it's like, I don't know the song of it, but it's like Jay-Z. They used it in a FIFA commercial. I think it might be Animal or something that's called, but it's just got really good bars to begin with. Yeah. And I'm just like, man, how can you listen to this and not be amped up to want to take on the world?
That's it. Yeah. That's how bars make me feel too.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, bars as in club bars, or do you mean rapper bars? No,
I meant club bars.
I didn't even.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Alex, why would yours pump up song be I guess when they were telling you about alma mater and they weren't including you, what got you so angry that you're like, these guys?
Probably Adele's new song, Easy on Me.
Oh, really? No.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really have a pump up song. I like rap too, old school rap, so maybe something like that.
Okay.
The Black Eyed Peas one we listened to before.
Yeah, Pump It Louder. That's a good one. TNT by AC/DC.
That's a good one.
I listen to AC/DC in the morning sometimes. Just gets me going.
Yeah.
I wouldn't listen, Alex. If you did have to say Adele's one, I wouldn't judge you, because it's all in the preference of how you. Yeah, it's all in the preference. I would love it going into a hockey locker room and when every guy gets to choose a song.
Crying.
Yeah, and it's
win or lose.
You gotta keep your game away from the emotion and focus on the game plan. So it's just you just let it all out.
I could just see Alex doing a big pump up speech. It's like, we're gonna come back from this game. We're gonna cream them, and this is the song I chose. Take me, and then they're like, what the?
I don't listen to Baldi's Before You Go. That pumps me up too. Funny enough. Yeah, Before You Go is
oh yeah.
Not allowed in your car.
Jake drives. He takes his pants off, ties around his head, and sticks his head on the sunroof.
Sure. Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, I really like the song Miss Jackson too.
Miss Jackson.
Okay.
That pumps me up. Yeah.
That's good. I like those. Those are good examples. I was going to say
too many songs, man. Just I love everything. So I love everything. Can't choose just one.
No, that's fair. I feel like
on the spot to be when someone's like, "Yo, what's your favorite song?" or "What's your pump up song?" or whatever. I'm like,
"What's your favorite color? What's your name? What day is it?"
No, for music especially, it's just there's too much stuff out there.
Yes, I feel
you go through your Spotify and you're like, "Oh, I forgot I knew this band. I forgot about this band, whatever."
Yeah, I feel like it's when people are like, "What's your?" I know it's loaded, but it's what's your favorite actor, musician, or and or what's your inspiration, or who was your inspiration? There's always going to be more than one.
Yeah.
But to me, it's almost I have a go-to, but over years it develops. So I know when I was younger, I was probably I really like the Backstreet Boys, and then when I got older, I'm I really like Ed Sheeran. I really like All Time Low. But it's something. If you take something from everything, it's good. But I don't like people that are like, I only like this type of music. I'm like, man, you are missing out on so much more. Like, there are people who hate country. That's okay. But I'm like, do you like this? They're like, no, I like rock and that's it. I'm like, man, you miss out so many good artists.
Yeah, there's so much good music out there. Yeah,
for sure. I think all three of us kind of pick and choose like a bit of everything, right? Like Alex listens to like friggin' classical music in his car sometimes. It's just like when it's there's something good.
I listen to jazz, from classical to punk rock to rap to.
I want to see you make a CD with all those combos in mind.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah,
just like 1 20 minutes.
Reggae, rock, like.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can't listen to really, unless it's screamo rock maybe.
That's fair. I can't stand screamo.
I'm sure you'll find the oddball where you're like, that is a sick song.
Yeah, every genre you'll be like, that's a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah, my cousin was in a screamo band, funny enough. And there's some songs I liked, so you're right.
There's like something our managers always told us since we started working with him, Stefan, is like a good song's a good song. So regardless, even within our own like music, we kind of will tend to like we'll stretch things one way, another way, you know, genre wise. So
I like that.
A song into like one instrument, like the voice.
And if you can cover of any genre, like, that's a good song.
That's how you know it's a good song. And I think a lot of our songs can do that.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, like Pretty House was a song that started very stripped, like an acoustic, folky kind of song.
Yeah.
And I think it would sound good if we really slowed it down too, but it could also sound good probably like as a rap.
Yeah.
Most of our songs though, if you heard like the original like jam out of the song, you'd be like, how the f did that go from this to
how
this?
did Jeremy ruin this?
But
he pronounced something the wrong way, but he's like, man, it just sounds so much better when I sing it like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderwall.
Yeah.
Wonder Wheel.
Yeah. I like though there's other songs I feel like when you listen to them, like going off that a little bit, where it's like you think it should be pronounced the other way around and it's not, but then you get entrenched with that. Like I know listening to say like Australian bands, or sometimes you're just still like, I don't like how you sing that. And then you're just like, but now I've grown accustomed to you singing it that way that I can't imagine someone doing a cover and it's not sung that way. Like, again, going back to like, I guess the Oasis reference, it's like if someone's like perfect voice, like just say Adele covered it, not saying that she would, and she doesn't do that, I'd be like, Adele, 9 out of 10. She's like, where did I lose the 1 mark? I'm like, you didn't do Wonderwall. She'd just be like, I don't care what you think. I'm like, good, just go release more music. Do you.
That's going to do it for this episode of Tobin Tonight. Our thanks to Group Project for coming on to the show. Remember, you can find past, present, and future episodes on TobinTonight.com, Spotify, and iTunes. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and leave a comment or two. For Tobin and myself, this is Jacob saying thanks for listening and good night.